It's 7 p.m. on June the 11th, 2012. It's time for our regular council meeting, and I need a motion to call to order.
I'll make the motion to convene.
I'll second.
All in favor? I vote. Reverend Brown, would you please do us the honors again of the invocation, please? And she could even mic right there.
Let us pray. Eternal, most gracious God, God, we thank you for this day, oh Lord God, we thank you for this hour. We ask you right now, God, that you come and visit this place. We thank you for these people that have gathered here for the city council meeting. We thank you for our council members, oh Lord God. God, we just ask that at the end of this day, Lord God, that it will be to your Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And fall rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for meeting with me earlier. Go over the amendments. I'd like to move item 1 from old business to new business. Since we have not heard from this company and was associated with Sean Hankins, but it is new business as far as the council is concerned. Also under resolution agreements and ordinances, item 6 will be presented by Councilwoman Bushman. Item number 8, City Treasurer present. And item 9, City Treasurer and or yourself work with that one. Item 10, I would like to take care of that item with council support. And then council discussion items, I'd like to remove get legislation. Council discussion item, remove employee holiday luncheons to another date. And speaking with council, this meeting that we had an executive session. That'd be great.
Do I have a motion to accept the amended agenda?
I so move.
Second.
Clarification. Okay. The public comments, it'll be before the executive session. No, they have a first and second, and one discussion. All in favor? Aye, vote. Okay. All right, first thing we have a motion to approve the work session minutes of 5/8/2012. Motion to approve those minutes.
I move to approve those minutes, please.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Any comments? Discussion? All in favor? Vote. Need a motion to approve the council meeting minutes of 5/14/2012.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor? I vote. Need a motion to approve the special call meeting minutes of 5/21/2012.
I'll make the motion to approve.
And I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor? I vote. And last one is the motion to approve the special call meeting minutes of 5/31/2012.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Vote. Okay, with the, correct me, Mark, let's try, so really number one will be number two right now. So, oh, sorry. Thanks, everybody, for coming. This is good. This is participation government. This is participatory government, right? This is your government. This is what we like to see. People sitting up here, letting us hear what you want to do, and hopefully we will do service for what you're wanting us to do. You see on the website, so you can get everybody's contact numbers and stuff. You can call them. You can call me 24/7, 365. I do get them. I got two. Ordered for you last Sunday morning. Please reach out to us and let us know what you want us to do. And thanks again very much for coming. If you bear with us, we'll try and go through the order as quickly as possible. With the changes that we have, we will go to item number 2 first, and it will be presented by Nicole Vasquez, the city clerk, and ordinance amending the code of ordinances so as substitute the city manager for the city manager as to the bank accounts and check sign. That's number 2 in the rules.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Conrad.
before we continue the business, I would please like to address our city treasurer, Mr. Miller. He is our city treasurer and chief financial officer, along with our city administrator when he is seated, our city attorney and city clerk. I'd like to ask support from the council to bring them forward to present numerous items this evening.
But he'd be called up to do that. I think we've got HR here as well and some others. The seats have generally been for the city administrator, city clerk, and the attorneys. And I think he's done a great job of coming up with something, but so far, I don't think it's necessary to move him up to the table up there.
I'd like to ask for a vote, sir.
All right, he wants a vote to move the treasurer to the table. So I have a motion. Yes, motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. Opposed? Okay. Now, moving to item number 2 that we're trying there. We, Nicole, is to present the number 2 item.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This ordinance was vetoed by the mayor on May 24th. For the charter, section 3.23, any ordinance vetoed by the mayor,
Speaking to Mike, Mr. Wood.
any ordinance vetoed by the mayor is to be presented at the next general meeting. It will take the vote of the entire council for it to become law.
Okay. I submitted my veto on this one to the city clerk on 12:26 p.m. on the 24th of May, and I'll read my veto. After looking at the organizational structure of the city, I noted that the city administrator is also the procurement agent, thus authorizing him to enter into contracts up to $10,000 without approval of the city council or any other official. We currently have 4 persons who can sign checks for the city: city clerk, treasurer, chairman of the finance committee, and the mayor. I believe that is more correct from an ethical perspective to have a system of checks and balances for city finances by avoiding a policy that allows someone to approve and authorize purchases up to $10K without anyone's approval or knowledge, and then being able to sign the check for it as well. Thus, I'm exercising my veto of the ordinance pertaining to item number 4 of the May 14, 2012 agenda to amend ordinance section 3.04.030, which is the bank accounts and check signing procedure.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Alcott.
needs some clarification from council. The ordinance that was quoted by the clerk is certainly chartered and is something that needs to be considered, but I'm quite confused, as I'm sure the rest of this council is. The statement from the clerk was that it's going to take the entire council to override. There is a agreement that has been signed by the old council, Mr. Copper, myself, and the mayor, and a settlement agreement that has not yet been resolved in court of law. I wanted to make that point so to clarify that we can potentially, if we have some guidance from you, to tell me under those parameters, if I remember that correctly, 4-0 supermajority on all items other than land acquisition, which entitles that time to be a 5-0 vote. So I'm asking clarification on this issue, if the supermajority would not be in order.
Mr. Mayor and Council, as I understand the question essentially boils down to whether or not it would take 4 or 5 votes to override the veto of the mayor. As the clerk read, section 3.23 C of the charter says ordinances vetoed by the mayor shall be presented by the city clerk to the city council at its next meeting, and should the city council then, or its next general meeting, adopt the ordinance by an affirmative vote of the entire council, it shall become law. I understand the imposition of the settlement agreement in this instance. However, it's our view from a legal perspective that the settlement agreement would not override the provisions of the charter, and that therefore the charter would control and require 5 votes to override the veto.
Absolutely, it does. I also wanted to expound on that. I find it funny that you find that sarcastic, that the question I'm just asking for clear legal direction here. I didn't find it humorous. But since it's humorous, let's continue on to the only reason you signed that document, sir, was for you to receive $56,000 in attorney's fees that you did not hold your end of the bargain to. So I wanted to at least bring that forward to let people know that you agreed to do something. And you did not adhere to your obligations. I was just simply asking for clarification. I appreciate the input from the attorney, and I yield to his professional opinion of being an attorney representing this council. Now that I understand that there is an overriding charter implementation here, Mr. Mayor, I certainly thank you and the attorney for that clarification, but it is not funny.
But he said it's fine, Mr. Alacon. And I would ask council to please advise us. I don't think it's proper to talk about the agreement until
It's public knowledge.
I will make my statement to it later. So, clarification for this part here, I'm just saying. So what is the ruling? Does it take the entire council?
It does take the entire council, yes.
Fine.
Mayor Stewart, Bill, I just have a question of clarification. If I'm not correct, please correct me. Does the ordinance currently read that the checks can be signed by the city manager, and that the ordinance that we have before us is nothing more than changing the verbiage from city manager to city administrator from city manager?
I believe that was the case. Let me take a look quickly.
His wording.
I believe it was that it was simply a change to change the wording from city manager, which is a position that no longer exists, to city administrator, if I recall correctly.
Okay. And should we not make this change, this particular ordinance would be out of sync with everything else that we've recently changed that reads city administrator, and we'd have to go back and redo everything that we've done already to incur the verbiage of city manager.
It may very well be out of sync with some portions of the code. I'd have to look and see, but the effect, of course, is to limit the number of folks who can sign checks and create bank accounts.
Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Bush?
So I'm confused because we had a settlement agreement that surrounded city manager changing it to city administrator. Now we're looking in the newspaper for a city administrator. So when we get a city administrator, interim or not, then we won't be able to call him city administrator. He will not be able to be put on the bank accounts as a city administrator, even though we're following that course because of the settlement agreement. Now you're saying the settlement agreement doesn't override or supersede the charter. So if we appoint an interim city administrator that the mayor's been using and all of us have been using, then when we go, he will not be allowed to be put on a bank account under the name city administrator.
That's correct. You as a council would have to enact a new change like this of some sort to allow him, the interim city administrator and the new city administrator, to sign checks and create bank accounts.
Okay, but I don't understand this, the settlement agreement was filed in a court of law. So now you're saying that it does not hold merit.
Well, I don't know that the settlement agreement said anything about you could sign checks and create bank accounts. It's my understanding that this was simply a change to our current ordinance. I'd have to look at the settlement agreement to see whether or not it impacted that.
It doesn't say who signs checks, but the whole problem with the whole check signing procedure is city administrator, city manager. So we could possibly appoint an interim city administrator that will not be able to sign checks. And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that position bonded? Isn't that what we talked about and been concerned with? You're concerned about our city administrator, city manager signing checks. They're bonded anyway. Is that correct?
I believe all city officials have to be bonded. But you are correct in that unless the council takes further action, if this stands, an interim city administrator would not be able to sign checks or create bank accounts.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Steiner.
just with this clarification again, please. So if we had a city manager, the city manager would be able to sign checks. But if we had a city administrator, the city administrator would not be allowed to sign checks.
That may be very well a complicated question, but you'd have to jump through a couple of hoops to allow that person to sign checks. I know that they would have an additional resolution which they'd have to sign that would go to the banks and show that that person was authorized to sign checks. So there may be some additional hoops, even if you created the city manager position. But in theory, the ordinance would allow that person to sign checks if you hire them.
So the ordinance as it reads now allows the city manager to sign checks, but not a city administrator.
Yes, that's how it reads.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
I have one other comment. Since the settlement agreement back last summer, we have used city administrator. So now why all of a sudden are we not to use that?
I can't answer that question, but I do know that there's an ordinance that provides for the hiring of the city administrator. And I assume that's the process the council's working.
Thank you.
The veto was not over the wording. My veto was what I read to you. I think it's improper for someone to be able to, whether what position they are, to give a contract for $10,000 and sign a check. I think there is separation, a check and balance. We have 4 people that can sign the checks. If the city administrator makes a contract, there's 4 people who sign the contract, the checks for it. I just don't think that we should be signing checks and making a contract.
But that ordinance already exists under the name of city manager.
And it's up right now, and you're making a change, and I'm vetoing it. That's one of your old ordinances that I think needs to be vetoed, a check and balance system. That's my veto. I don't care if you call them the city what. I just think the check and balance system, that's what my opinion is. And because you're changing the wording, I just have to go, oh, I don't care what you call them. I don't think that same person should be writing the check, writing the contract, and writing the check. That's all I'm asking. That was my veto. If you want to override the veto, you have that option. Any more discussion?
Mr. Allen, Mr. Miller, our city treasurer, to try to help educate us on checks and balance systems that we already have in place. And that, I think one thing you misstated earlier is that the city administrator is the procurement officer. Through your two and mine both, we brought together a position of said procurement officer in the city. And that's not to be her last name. Sorry for that. But Dave, could you help us with this procedure of checks and balances that we already have?
my understanding from, not the settlement agreement, but the existing charter and ordinance, that actually no contract can be approved without council approval. So even if this veto, correction, even if this ordinance was in place, and certainly city attorney can advise, but this is one of the sort of checks and balances I put in February when I came on board, is that no contract whatsoever can be approved, or anything that looks like a contract without their signature. So that is certainly one thing. Second, you are correct. There is a purchasing agent for the city. It's spelled out in current ordinance that person operates through finance. There's a inherent checks and balances with the city administrator and the treasurer position. Yes, both of us are on executive staff, but nobody, including the city administrator, can spend up to $10,000 without checks and balances and approvals. For instance, in your existing procurement policy, I mentioned the contract. Up to $10,000 still requires the normal 3 quotes, still requires the requisition, still requires the purchase order, and then still goes through the process. I will say that the previous city administrator was of the opinion that he was not to sign checks. I believe that process was put in place cooperatively starting back in February. So I'm not firsthand, I do not recall that a city administrator has actually signed a check since I became treasurer. Does that help?
Yes, sir, Judge. I just wanted to let the citizens know that we're not willy-nilly up here without policies and procedures, that there are checks and balances, and that whether, it's the city administrator, city manager, the treasurer, or any of us, which I happen to be one of the 4 that do sign. But, like I said, it's just a check and balances are in place. They don't want you to feel like that that is an unchecked piece of auditing and accounting that's going on here in the city.
And I want to share with y'all, and we want to drag this thing out. There's been all sorts of briefings come down, I got them, and there's all sorts of ways to transfer them and take stuff up and not accusing anybody. And the tighter you can make the system, the better. That was my whole reason. I saw the council opinion on it there, and that's my reason for veto. You all have the right to override it. I honored that there. So, you have a motion, any more discussion? Do I have a motion to override the mayor's veto? And I have a motion to override the veto. I apologize for wasting all y'all's discussion. Okay, so we'll move to the next item. Number 1 is now 2. We got a presentation by Ed Witowski of the CHN letter of agreement for health management system. And that's number 2 in your, no, sorry, number 1.
Thank you for the council meeting. The meeting today is to have you review the letter of agreement and see if there's approval to go forward with the wellness program we proposed to put in place starting July 1st of this year.
Is this the continuation of non-entrance?
It is, yeah. We're working hand in hand with Shawnee. Who's your broker for it?
Anybody need your authority to sign this letter? They all need they need to vote on me to sign this letter of agreement. Mayor Stewart.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it was my recommendation that this item be brought before the city council just for approval so that you can sign the continuing agreement.
Okay, Mr. Stein.
I would just like to ask if Ms. Dawn Johnson, our HR manager, has reviewed this as well and signed off on it.
She had. There she is. Sorry. Yeah, that's it.
Yes, I have reviewed the entire document, had spoken to Ed on several occasions, and Wendell, who's an insurance broker, and no issues or problems with it, and obviously it has been discussed with Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, we appreciate you bringing this forward, and a good example. of how our checks and balances are. The money don't get spent until the board authorizes the mayor to move forward with contractual agreements. Thank you.
Are there any questions on the contract, any questions, or questions I can answer for you?
Motion this time, letter of agreement.
So moved.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor? I vote. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you.
Next will be the consent agenda. We have 3 resolutions under there. One resolution is off. The consent agenda was resolutions that we talked about at the working session, that we can just lump them under. Everybody had agreed. We had a 5-0 agreement there at that time. So we lumped them all into 3 at one time. So under the consent agenda, as you'll see, is a resolution authorizing the city to contract with Greystone Grading Inc. for Rockford Road Bridge project water main relocation. The other resolution is an authorizing the mayor to work through the GMA Association to hire a temporary city administrator during the time period prior to hiring a full-time city administrator. And the third resolution is authorizing the city to contract with C.W. Matthews for road paving services for North Trail Park, Evergreen Terrace, and Medical Boulevard within the city. But those that weren't here when we discussed that there was something about C.W. Matt. It was already been passed and everything, but it was a verbiage that it's more like poundage instead of yards or something like that. It was, they don't know how many potholes are out there or whatever, so it was a technical thing that we need to tighten up, and that's the reason why that was put on. Do I have a motion to accept the 3 items on the consent agenda?
I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor of the consent agenda, the 3 resolutions? Let's do a 5-0. Moving down to item number 4, will be presented by the Henry County Planning and Zoning Chair. That is the rezoning of RZ-12-02. Monument Christian Church in McDonough, Georgia, requests a rezoning from the M1 Light Manufacturing to the O&I Office Institution for property located at 1120 Village Business Parkway. In land lot 2 of the 12th district, the property consists of 4.4 plus or minus acres and a request for a church. Share.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you so very much for having me here this evening. This request actually was discussed during the work session on last week, but I still will reiterate for those individuals who may not have been present. As the mayor has indicated, we have a rezoning request this evening for Momentum Christian Church. They are seeking to rezone their property. It's a 4.44 plus or minus acre tract of land that is currently zoned in one, which is industrial. The property is actually part of a larger tract of land, which is about 650 plus or minus acres, and this is just an industrial pod that's part of it. The Stockbridge code ordinances currently does not allow churches within the M1 zone district, nor does it allow the applicant to apply for conditional use. So the applicant was advised by staff that the best thing to submit would be for rezoning to O&I, which is office institutional. The church is looking to utilize an existing facility. It's my understanding that no additional construction will be done on the property. And for the audience who may not be familiar with the property, it is located at 1120 Village Business Parkway. It was the former Schwann's Frozen Food Distribution Center, and it is my understanding that the church is looking to occupy the entire building. The request is heard by the Zoning Advisory Board on May 10th, and the Zoning Advisory Board did recommend approval with no zoning conditions. Some of the things that we highlighted, and staff did recommend denial of the request because it's inconsistent with the future land use map. But I will ask you to refer to some of the criteria points in the staff report, and most particularly criteria point 1. Staff has indicated that while the property may be inconsistent with the future land use map, the development of a church or other O&I's use on the subject property would have the effect of decreasing the intensity of allowable uses in the area. And what that simply means is that currently, as the property is zoned in one, you would have more light manufacturing type uses. The zoning to O&I would actually be a downside. So again, the Zoning Advisory Board did recommend approval of the request with no conditions. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
And we have a spokesman for the church here.
Yes, sir.
You want to come up, sir?
You have questions, or would you just like me to give you my spiel again?
Prefer a short spiel, but you got 3 minutes.
Yeah, as we discussed in the work session, Momentum Christian Church is a church that was established in January of 2007. The building that we occupy, we leased for the first 3 years, and in December of 2009, we purchased that building. That building is in Henry County, it's in McDonough. It is M1, and we occupy that with conditional use. M1 for us works very well, we've actually thrived. We are out of seats and we are out of parking. And this is part of our vision, and has always been part of our vision to have multiple campuses. So this will be an expansion of our ministry in the county. This facility sits in M1, or yes, M1 as it is right now, but it's the only building on that street. Actually, the future land use map also shows that entire area being M1 currently. The entire front portion of what is on the future land use map, M1 already commercial, also has a daycare center as well. We have a good relationship with the other landowner that actually owns the remaining land on both sides of that property. He's not opposed at all to us being there. We look forward to purchasing the building. If it's rezoned, we would not be leasing it, we would be purchasing it. And then we would be using that for church services on Sunday. We wouldn't be using it for daycare or school or anything like that. So,
I have a question.
yes.
Mr. Christian.
If we change the zoning and something happens and you don't purchase the facility, what would be the ramifications for the city of Stockbridge? Does anybody have an answer to that?
Sherry.
It certainly would be any ramifications. What ultimately would happen is that you will now have a parcel of land that is unbuilt, which will allow more office institutional type uses. It could be a medical facility, but nothing that's commercial or retail type uses.
Thank you.
Mayor Stewart.
And we do have our financing in place, and we have a closing set, hopefully for Friday or Monday, based upon this evening's meeting.
Mr. Powers, in reading over your application, I had one simple question. Nowhere does it say in this letter what your capacity is with the church. It just says your name and Momentum Christian Church. So for the record, could you advise us what your official capacity is with the church?
Capacity as far as we're running right now.
What is your job? What is your
Oh,
job?
capacity, I'm sorry. I'm one of the ministers on staff.
Thank you.
We're being passenger seats. Very restricted by capacity.
No.
Roll. Roll. I got it. Roll slow. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah. We have anyone up here that's opposed to this? Correction. Anyone in favor of that? Going once, in favor. Going twice, anyone in favor?
Are you announcing the public hearing?
Yes.
Thank you.
So you're asking with everybody out here?
I'm asking for this piece of property, anyone speaking in favor of this piece of property? Anyone want to speak in favor? Going once, going twice, 3 times, last call. Anyone who wants to oppose, speak in opposition of zoning this property? Going once, going twice, thrice. Okay, no count on it. Council, need a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor? I don't want to speak. See them look around, yes, jump over there, all right? Thank you. Okay, we'll move to item number 5. Jerry, this will be you again, be presented by the Henry County rezoning RC 11-09-S Blue East Management Group of Stockbridge, Georgia, request a rezoning from O&I Office Institutional to C2, General Commercial, for property located at 107 Flippin Road, land lot 59 in the 12th District. The property consists of 1.519 plus or minus acres, and the request is for a restaurant.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, Mayor and Council. As the Mayor has indicated, this is a request to rezone a tract of land that is 1.519 plus or minus acres. The property is currently zoned O&I, which is office institutional, and the applicants are seeking to rezone the property to C2. This application has been around for a while because originally when the application was submitted, planning staff did advise the applicant that C1 zoning would be the most appropriate for what they were proposing. When the application was heard by the zoning advisory board and we were moving it on to the city for action, planning staff determined at that time that this code of ordinances did not allow restaurants within the C1 zoning district unless they were part of a shopping center. In this case, this is a freestanding frame structure home that is currently on the property with some existing parking. So staff spoke with the applicant and advised them that we needed to withdraw the C1 request and actually have it apply for C2. So that's where we are today. The request was heard by the zoning advisory board on May 10th, and at that time during the meeting, planning staff did present the case and made the zoning advisory board aware of the future land use map designation, which is currently medium density residential. Under the medium density residential, it would allow uses such as your single family residential or your multi-family residential, but it would not permit uses such as commercial or office type uses. Again, the property is currently zoned O&I and has operated its various uses. Most notably, it's been a professional office, it's been a massage therapy, and it's also been a Christian ministry facility. If you have reviewed the staff report, there are several criteria points that we as a staff look at when looking at applications. Of course, the future land use map is one thing that we do take into consideration because the future land use map serves as our guide for how you all, the city council members, and how we as county staff envision the development of property. If you look at some of the criteria points, most notably criteria point 1, it just states that the development of a restaurant or other C2 use on the property would have the effect of increasing the intensity of allowable uses. Again, we would be going from an O&I, which is your office institutional type uses, to a C1 use, which will be your neighborhood commercial. It could be a plethora of retail type developments along that area. Again, the planning and zoning staff did recommend denial because the request is inconsistent with the future land use map, and the zoning advisory board also recommended denial of the request due to it being inconsistent with the future land use map. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
We have the applicant. Come up and speak.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
I'm Dixie Smith, and this is my husband Jerry Smith. We are the applicants for this project. And as the young lady stated, this project has been around for quite a while, so you all had a long time to kind of consider what you want to do with it. We have requested for a C2 zone to put a family-style restaurant in this particular area. I realize that the Planning and Zoning Committee did decide to deny our request, but they are bound by a future land use map, a map that's only renewed every 10 years, a map that was created in 2008 and 2009, one that does not consider what's presently happening in Stockbridge now. But you have the ability to look beyond that, whereas they do not, you can't. Look at what's happening in Stockbridge now and make good decisions for Stockbridge. When we bought this particular property, it was dilapidated. It had so much trash around it that it took 10 commercial-sized dumpsters just to remove the trash initially. In fact, we had some pets, we called that a bobcat Bob, the red fox, and we had these little animals all living on this property because no one cared about it. But we cared about it to bring it up to standard and have been renovating it from this point on. This is a beautiful Victorian-style home. We want to put a family-style restaurant here, one that will complement the plans of the city. I have been to your URA meetings. I have done your studies on your LLCs, what you plan to do in Stockbridge. I have looked at your 5-year plan. And one of the things it says that you want to do is have mixed-use development. Mixed-use development is what's called have residential, commercial, eating places, all in one. We can enhance our community. We can draw the families to Stockbridge. We can offer jobs in Stockbridge. We're going to increase property values around us. We're going to add an attraction to this city. Many of us know about Blue Willow. Many of us have traveled to the Blue Willow. And no matter what you say, 1 out of 2 people will say, I've been to Blue Willow, or I plan to go to Blue Willow. Well, that's what we can do for Stockbridge. Bring that type of service here, so that you can see that we can put a beautiful restaurant-style place here in the Stockbridge area. When you think about Stockbridge as councilors, we're bringing sales tax here. I don't know if I really want to talk about how many sales tax you can get out of me, but we're bringing sales tax to Stockbridge. We're bringing more property taxes to Stockbridge. Within the first year, we will probably have $650,000 just in wages and salaries that we're bringing to Stockbridge. We're not asking you to look at this emotionally. We're asking you to look at this as councilors. What's good for Stockbridge? Can this enhance the city? And it can. Can it promote the city? And it can. Can it add progress to the city? And it can. And that's what we're offering Stockbridge. So I'm asking this council to look at this as councilmen. Look at this as what you have already put in place, that what you want to do for Stockbridge is to embrace the small businesses that are here and vote yes for Toulouse. In addition to the work we've done there, we took the time to listen to the planning and zoning committee. They made recommendations as to what they would suggest we do in order to put that restaurant there. We embraced that and received it. In addition, we've heard opposition about things that they were concerned about, their privacy. We wanted to make sure there would be no invasion of their privacy. We've had concerns about lighting. We've got an architect that's working directly with us and with the planning and zoning committee that will have all the lighting on the property. This is not a haphazard plan. We have took the time to work with officials to make sure that we're doing things to complement the plans of Stockbridge and also respect the neighbors that are here. And last but not least, I'm just getting over a surgery, so I apologize. But last but certainly not least, we took the time to see what the community had to say about putting a restaurant in that area. And we brought before this council, not pretending, but before this council, 300 signatures, signed, phone numbers, addresses in this area that says we want this restaurant in this particular area. And we're hoping you know that these are your voters. These are your constituents. They are looking at what's happening here. They are taking stock in Stockbridge. And that's what we've done in a short period of time, just to show you that people are paying attention and do want something else. So I'm asking you to embrace the small business owner, to embrace what we can bring here, and let us open Toulouse, a Southern-style restaurant with occasion twists. And we did bring our supporters out tonight. One of the concerns, you all don't have supporters. That's not true. We have them. They are signed. And those are not my signatures. We want Stockbridge. In fact, I smiled because Mr. Sternberg and I was talking about Stockbridge was so small. At our age, we could walk it. We did. Just to see what the public will say. So we're representing 300 more people here tonight that are voters here in Stockbridge to say, vote yes for Toulouse.
We'll give you time. You'll have 3 minutes. We will come out. All those that want to speak in favor of it, you'll come up and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Please announce who your name is and step out clearly on this board.
Good evening, my name is Mildred Reed. First of all, I want to say, while I am sensitive to the concerns of the homeowner near and around the 107 Flippin, who feel that the restaurant would be a detriment to the community because of traffic, etc., I am very sensitive to that. But I'm appealing to the council to vote yes to this request for the following reasons. It demonstrates to other small businesses that this city council embraces small business development. And it will show that by the example that you are voting yes on this particular restaurant. It also embraces the fact that there is progress continuing and growing for Stockbridge. The other positive point is future employment, which is desperately needed here in Stockbridge. So we know that that will be added. And it will also, I believe, allow families who travel out an hour or so or go to North South Atlanta to eat at other restaurants to maybe remain here in Stockbridge and not go north, east, or whatever. So just want to add that. And I agree that we do need another type of restaurant because of the variety. That's all.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak in favor?
Good evening. My name is Jerome Martin. I reside at 2884 Anderson Circle, Smyrna, Georgia. And I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I am the architect for this particular project, and it's always interesting to come to Stockbridge. I really think you guys have this dynamic politics going on. Very interesting, the first part of this meeting. It makes me want to keep coming back. So, I don't know how, how it is, in terms of if it gets really tough here, but hopefully when you consider this project, you can be lenient on the architect. What I have, I'm here basically to kind of clarify some of our intentions for this proposed addition for this particular building. We are adding a kitchen, basically. It's going to be about 700 to 800, or maybe 1,000 square feet of kitchen. And then the rest of the building, we're just basically renovating it for a dining space. And I've been working with Vivian for about a year. She's very thorough. She's extremely involved. And you can see that she has an extreme amount of passion for this particular project. And currently, I have some renderings to basically show you what our intentions are. I have my computer over there, but I have paper images if you want to just kind of circulate through the but that first image is basically a beginning of the building where the addition is going to happen. And we are keeping within the style of the architecture of the building. The materials will be hard plank. There will be an asphalt shingle roof, and then we'll have a water table or grid. We have met with the Henry County. We have looked at all of their sort of comments, and we have addressed them all. So we are meeting to any of your comments if need be. But I would say, again, this is a great opportunity to bring a business, a new business into the city of Stockbridge, and I would like to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Someone else to speak in favor?
Good evening. My name is Becky Thomas, and I reside at 905 Sideline Court, which is the subdivision that's kind of attached to this restaurant. I am in agreement with the restaurant because there's jobs, there's food. Brian's has recently closed. I'm one of those moms that kind of get home late and I try to grab the kids, run out, get something to eat. And this would be a great spot to do that. I understand that some people are concerned about traffic there, but there's traffic all over Stockbridge. Every Everywhere I go, there's traffic. There's traffic everywhere. And I'm just in agreement for it. It did good.
Anybody else wants to speak in favor? You want to speak?
Good evening, Councilman, Mayor. My name is Melvin Thomas Fulton. I'm all favor for this restaurant because it's in a place that all the other restaurants up by I-75, 138, we have Best Buy down the street, we have Country Buffet, and we have Capabilities, and we have a little fish place up there by Cobblestone, I think that's what it is. But this is right down in the neighborhood. And they talked about the garbage disposal last week about the dumpster. That's going to be a fence around, I'm sure, to keep the people from looking over there at the garbage disposal. And I'm sure that we will not have much noise there. And it's not going to be a nightclub atmosphere. It's a nice, quiet restaurant so that people can enjoy their food. We need another restaurant that offers a different menu selection, embraces the family. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in favor of it? Going once, going twice, last call for those speaking in favor. Okay. Anyone who would like to speak in opposition to it, please come up, state your name, and speak your commission. Don, 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Milton Myers, and I live directly behind this property on Iron Horse Way. And I've been there for 10 years in this lovely place. And I love a good restaurant just as much as anybody, but I just don't want one directly in my backyard. And I would be against this for several reasons. And one is having a busy restaurant in my backyard, facing my bedroom window where I eat my sleep. It would just not be good. And also having a busy, noisy parking lot and all the bright lights and whatever that goes with that would just interfere with everything. For me, traffic, like I said, is already bad in the area. I'm against having a large commercial dumpster near my backyard with all the smells, flies, roaches, and other things that will be attracted to it. The owners of this property have already cut down almost all of the trees separating our properties, and it's already raised the visual and noise levels to disturbing levels. My wife and I go to bed early, we wake up early, and I'm presently dealing with my own health and heart issues, and just don't need any more disturbances directly affecting me. If the restaurant were to fail for some reason, I don't know what other kind of businesses would be pre-built there, which, that would affect us in the future. So, just to reiterate, I love a good restaurant, like anybody else. I just don't want one right in my backyard. And so I thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Saw a couple.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for hearing this. My name is Mike Maddox. I live at 111 Clifton Road, which is a property adjacent to the property we're discussing. In other words, the proposed parking lot between my house and their house, or their building, and that's better for us. We had several concerns. We mentioned it before. We brought it up in the work session, and we're all familiar with it. And I believe all the council members here, the mayor was here. Without taking up too much time, I like the main points of my opposition to it. They already have 2 existing drives there, and they're proposing to put an additional one in, which would not only add to the traffic situation, I personally believe would add to they'll be cutting through from Old Atlanta through the parking lots and zipping out of Clifton Road, because at the present time, trying to make a right hand and left hand turn on Old Atlanta on Clifton Road is almost impossible. possible, and at certain hours, it's illegal to make a left turn. So, again, the traffic issue comes up again. The noise, we've already discussed, I don't want to elaborate too much on it. One of my personal concerns was alcohol sales. I still do not have an answer to that. Do they propose to have alcohol license? Do they propose to sell alcohol? If so, that's a big concern of mine, and that's one of the main reasons I have an opposition to it. I have a special needs child that lives with me, and really don't need the happiness of alcohol effects affecting my personal life. Hours of operation was another concern of mine. Originally, when the property was zoned O&I, it was supposed to have been a daytime business and closed on weekends. Now, unfortunately, due to lack of certain government officials, that was never put in writing, and the restrictions were never made, so they don't apply, even though I was under the assumption they were. But I since found out, I had to talk to the Henry zoning board, and those restrictions are not there. So if we rezone this property to a C2, then all these things come into effect, and I'm real concerned about that. Security of the area, as far as crime at nighttime, I personally have a reason of concern because I live in the property. And then the quality for the life of my personal family. We spend a lot of time in the backyard, both summer and winter, and with the restaurant here, either folks will be in the parking lot, or they'll be coming out of the restaurants. And again, there's nothing personal here against the restaurants. I do not have anything personal, just at the location we're proposing. My other concern is once it's rezoned, and something should happen. And one of my questions that I'd like to ask the applicants is what experience do they have in previous restaurant ownership? Given
None of your business.
Well, it's just,
No.
I'm not trying to be rude or I'm just curious.
Sir, and y'all 3 minutes are up. Please hold your comments. That's personal.
May I address?
No.
I don't want to take my 3 minutes up arguing with you, sir.
That's personal. Your 3 minutes are up.
Okay. Well, I'm just asking the council to consider these things and a few things that I've done that I could not, but they were brought up in the work session. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you.
And I meant nothing rude to you, sir.
Move your face. Please. Y'all, please check your comments, please. Anyone else want to speak in opposite? Come on up. You come around there. This bill's a little heavy. You can get by.
I'm Lady Bopper, and I live at 108 Flicker Road, Stockbridge. I've been a long-time resident here. Some of the faces are very familiar. And I realize it's nothing personal between any of us. It's restricted business, but it's personal to me because if we right now for y'all, there's no way they can put up a fence and it's 50 feet high, or in lines to keep it from shining in my front door. The noise, of course, the garbage, there's so many things to play in here. And like I said, how many restaurants in Stockbridge that were nice eating? How many restaurants in Stockbridge that was nice sit-down restaurants? I enjoy the Pine First Room. I enjoy Grimes. And I've enjoyed Fred's and McDonald's before they done. I don't see where the property will have someone that invests so much money in the restaurant. So therefore, if the restaurant's not successful, what will be put in there? You know, nobody can afford to just invest money in this, but to see it, they're going to have to do something to make it. Okay, then, I've been living in the prison room for many years. It has always been a residential district. Why anyone would want to come in and upset people that's been there for so long, been paying taxes, and enjoying the quiet, place that we have around here. And it's just unreal to me to think that anybody would want to come in there and upset, and there's senior citizens laying up and down that street. It's just beyond my comprehension. And as far as increase the value of the property on Clifton Road, it would not. It would decrease the value, and it's already a bottom level. And also, are the signatures on the sheet they passed out, are they all within the city of Stockbridge? There's so many things. Oh, and another thing that really concerns me is what's already mentioned. If the restaurant fails, then what? They've been working on this for a long time. We were only aware of it when the rezoning sign went up.
10 seconds.
Excuse me?
10 seconds.
Okay, all right, well, I want to appreciate you, say I appreciate your time, and I wish goodwill amongst all of us. Whether it's passed or declined or denied, we still believe, and I would appreciate it if they go to McDonald's and put a restaurant in that area where they live, and not in Stockbridge on my street where I live. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you. And someone else want to speak in opposition? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Jocelyn Williams, and I want to thank you for letting me talk tonight. I want to thank the restaurant owner. Sounds like a beautiful idea that she has. I live at 190 Banks Drive. I've been there since 1992. I'm in total opposition to having the area rezoned. I know that change is inevitable, but changing the zoning in this area from O1 to C2 will be very difficult for me as a Henry County resident to accept. I currently work in Atlanta and leave at 5 a.m. each morning to make sure I get ahead of the morning traffic so I can get to work on time. I try to come home early in the afternoon to beat the evening traffic, but most times I get caught in it. When leaving Atlanta, I have to be mindful to make sure to get to the stop sign at Flippin Road before 4 o'clock p.m. So whenever time the restaurant starts, I will be very, very concerned about that. This is necessary for me to leave Atlanta before 4 if I want to fill up my car at the BP gas station located at the corner of Flippin Road and North Henry Boulevard. After this time, 4 o'clock, I am not allowed by law with the traffic sign. I cannot make a left turn due to the high volume of traffic. This did not exist 20 years ago. Trying to exit our BP gas station turning down onto Flippin is very difficult. Most drivers block the driveway when I'm trying to get out, and it's dangerous to make a left-hand turn on Flippin Road due to the limited view area. On Wednesday, June 5th, 2012, I was coming from a movie, and the section in front of the BP gas station was completely blocked with emergency vehicles. I could not get down Flippin Road to go to my home, so I had to take a detour down North Henry Boulevard. This is an example of the heavy congestion that can occur if a restaurant is successful as the owner had said it will be with the wonderful supporters that here. That means that everyone will be coming to this small section of Flippin Road. I called Henry County Department of Transportation, and as they said here, that it would not be a good idea to bring a restaurant that close according to your own zoning and planning, the young lady to my right behind me. I thought that the zoning was very important, wonderful, outstanding, vibrant, such a good job that an expansion project must be planned. They must want to widen the road, they must want to make a traffic sign. But according to Mr. Kenny Davis, Mr. Kenny Morris, that is not the case. He informed me as far as he knew nothing was being planned, expanded, or built for that area. The crowded conditions and the way the road is designed make it difficult already for regular traffic, and having an influx of a successful restaurant right there in the congested area would make it very difficult to get to other businesses that are already established. I have often gone to various businesses, as they said in Stockbridge, after getting home, resting. I ask that everyone will just give me a few more minutes. Mayor, and I thank you. My job is very stressful as a teacher, and the possibility of having 30 to 45 minutes
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak in opposition? Going once, going twice. Last call for speaking in opposition. I have two questions I'd like to get clarified for the council. The question was asked, do you propose alcohol sales? Can you address that? You just say it from there. Are you gonna, the question was, do you propose alcohol sales?
One thing I said to members of this council.
Okay, I'm sorry. I guess you better get Sherry, you are my person.
One thing I've said to members of this council, and the council members have responded to me, their job is to determine whether I'm O&I or CD2, not to run my business. And a particular council said to me, you're right, we cannot run your business. And that's where I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna let the neighbors run the business. I'm gonna follow within your constraints. If you have a C2, then whatever C2 allows me to do, that's what I need to have the right to do. Whatever order allows me to do, that's what we need to have the right to do. But the council job is not to run a personal business.
Second question I heard to do with what, out of those petitions you sent up here, do you have an idea? I mean, are they all residents?
These are Stockbridge residents, 300 signatures.
I just wanted to try to get the information on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have a motion at this time from the council.
Mayor Stewart, I'd like just to make a personal comment to everybody who's here this evening. Over the past several weeks, I've had a number of telephone calls, I've had a number of emails, I've researched this to death, I've spoken to people at the zoning board, I've met with Ms. Vivian at the property on Friday, and this afternoon, between 4:30 and 5:30 this evening, I received 17 phone calls from people regarding this issue. So I would like to thank our citizens for voicing their opinions and letting them be known.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Thomas.
I also would like to comment on this issue. I also have received a number of calls in favor and against this project. I'm a praying man. I had to pray on this issue. Let me say that when I ran for office, I encouraged economic development. I ran on supporting small businesses, minority businesses, and I still favor that. On the other side of that is, as many of you may know, I have a history of working in neighborhoods and encouraging citizens to fight for what they believe in. When we run for this office, we're put here to make hard decisions. This is not an easy one. But someone told me that we have to make a decision based on what is best for the city of Stockbridge. We know that whatever decision we make here tonight, it's not going to be favorable for some citizens. But you must know that it is not personal for us. It definitely is not personal. But we do have to make a decision. And I commend those citizens for coming forward and fighting for what they believe in, because I've always advocated for that. And many of you know I've encouraged citizens in a particular section to fight for sidewalks, and they won that. So, but it's a hard decision for me. As I stated, I had to pray on it. I had to let God lead me on that. So, just in saying that, I just want citizens to know that these are not easy decisions for us to make. And all we can do is make a decision based on what we think is best for the city of Stockbridge, not, favoritism for people that we may know or citizens, but we just have to make a decision based on what's best for the city of Stockbridge. Thank you.
Anybody else? So I need a motion.
I make a motion to deny.
Motion to deny by Mr. Cochran. Do I have a second?
I second.
Steinberg has a second. Any discussion? All in favor of denying it? 2, 3. All opposed? 1, 2. It is a 3-2 to deny it. So rules. 3-2. Okay, next item on the agenda is item number 6. Be presented by Councilmember Whitman as an ordinance amending the code of ordinances of the city of Stockbridge, instead of the offense of criminal trespass.
I'll let the room clear.
Mayor, may I say something real quick? I apologize for having run out of here with all our emergency room right now, so thank you for your time and consideration.
Well, that goes up to rules. Okay, Ms. Bushman, would you like to proceed with you?
All right, good evening. This ordinance was brought to me, we discussed this at the work session last week, many of you weren't there. I am chairman of the Public Safety Committee, and it was brought before us by Anita Gunrow, who is in our clerk of our court, our city court. We have an ordinance currently that protects us if someone is criminally trespassing in a vehicle but not on our property. They have had several incidences in the courts where they couldn't prosecute the person because we didn't have ordinance on the books, and they would have to send it down to state court and be gone. On the second hand, we've had some problems with some personal properties here, some of us on this council. And as the mayor has stated, we do, he has let the citizens know we have a gang problem. Most of the time, before gang members do anything, what do? They criminally trespass. Currently, we have no ordinance on the books. So it came before the Public Safety Committee, which is the correct protocol, and was brought forward to us. Mr. Steinberg and I had gone back and forth with our legal counsel because we wanted, if someone was going to come to criminally trespass on our property, we wanted them to be punished to a full extent of the law. And we went back and forth on the $1,000, $500 process. So it's before us. We decided we'd stay in line with most jurisdictions, and I think the state law, is that correct, Bill? In $500 be the punishment amount for criminal trespass. And so we're going to bring it before the council for a vote because I want our citizens to be protected. Anyone that steps on your property, the mayor brought forth about eggs. Eggs do damage. They peel up paint, they do property damage. I want to make every citizen here safe, not just the kids, not just the adults, but the elderly people too. And currently we have nothing on our books for the property of criminal trespass.
Understood.
Mr. Steinberg.
I personally had a sit-down conversation with Chief Goings, who's the captain of our police station precinct here at North Precinct in Stockbridge, and he has actively encouraged us to go forward with this ordinance.
Anybody else? Just to reiterate again, our lawyers did the research on it. We'll be the minority of the church cities that enact this. There's already books on it there. They've been prosecuting it here in the city for years. It goes to the state courts. To me, and the state courts is a little bit higher level, they can deal with it there, and I'm all for letting the state courts continue. There's never been a problem here, a outstanding problem. We can't chase each little one that happens on there, but that's your call. So, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance for criminal trespass on personal property.
Have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. Opposed? Abstained? Okay, number 7 is presented by David Belline, Treasurer, an ordinance to amend the code of ordinances so to verify the city's ordinance relating to assessment, collection, and sanitation fees. Item number 7.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a proposed change to the ordinance. There's no change in fees. There's no impact on existing revenues. It's simply a housekeeping ordinance change that would give the city the authority to bill sanitation customers in the same manner that it has since November 2009.
Any discussion? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance.
Have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor? 2, 3, 4, 5, 0. And number 8 is presented by the Treasurer and Mayor Pro Tem. This ordinance amending the city's budget so as to transfer $25,000 from the general fund balance to the government body fund so as to cover incurred expenses by the mayoral contract with a qualified executive recruiting firm to assist in recruitment of qualified candidates for the position of city administrator and other boards director.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, this is one that I brought before the council at a special call meeting last Tuesday. The council passed a resolution authorizing the expenditure of $25,000 for an executive search. This is simply to fund that mandate, providing $25,000 in the governing authority body for the mayor to do so.
Mr. Mayor? Correction that we need to address is the language in the ordinance bill. The Public Works Director piece in the documents that were set forth by Mercer Group did not include that. And for the budget that we authorized here, we probably supersede 25 or 20, and this has to go through another budget amendment. So if we could just strike Public Works Director piece out of that, then we would be inside of this resolution, this ordinance.
The council certainly is within its authority to do that.
Mayor Stewart.
Mr. Steinberg.
If I read the document correctly from the Mercer Group, it should come in at about $19,500 for the city administrator job, with $15,000 a reduced fee and approximately a reduced fee of $4,500 for estimated expenses, down from $8,000.
And if I may address the council, Mr. Mayor, under our procurement ordinance, and correct me, the city attorney, that I'm not aware of the Mercer Group, but I trust we'll have 3 quotes for 3 firms prior to executing contract.
I'm not sure if that relates to this particular piece of legislation. Suppose we can address that when the time comes. But this piece of legislation is simply the $25,000 for the city administrator position.
Okay.
For clarification, Mr. Mayor, this is a clarification, even though the documents that have been sent forth to the mayor at this time is only by the one group, the Mercer Group. We're not voting on what group we're going to use or not to use in this particular ordinance. We're just authorizing the dollar value. So that's the reason why we're not having to do with that this time. So, With striking the public works piece in the ordinance, a motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Back over. Item number 9, again presented by the Treasurer and Mayor Pro Tem, is an ordinance amending the city's budget so as to transfer $12,000 from the general fund balance to the records court personnel services, salaries, wages fund so as to cover incurred payroll expenses to maintain the position of part-time municipal court clerk on the city's payroll through December 31st, 2012.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is a budget amendment, as you stated, for $12,000. This is a request administratively that was expressed to be brought forth by the mayor. This position is a position that is assigned over the Henry County Police Department. It was funded in the 2012 budget through mid-May. It's not a position that was funded through the end of the year. Best research I can find is that there was a handshake agreement with the county to fund this position. The purpose is to actually keep court citations. This position, the key in the tickets, of course, is covered by a service delivery agreement. However, this agreement was put in place, I understand, from the previous city manager, Vince Strickland, at a time when the police department had asked for additional resources in order to get tickets to our court in a timely fashion.
Motion.
Mr. Mayor, just food for thought, Mr. Councilman Steinberg brought forward some statistics in the work session. I took his lead and did a little additional research on that. 34.9% reduction in overall ticket writing year-to-date for a 5-month period. So if you do the math on this, make sure I find mine correctly, is you've got 20...
Speak about getting the fire station donated or needs a nominal sum to Boys and Girls Club that they're arranging in the county. I didn't see myself on there. I didn't know if it was an omission or not, so that's why I wrote that there and will be. I'm not sure if I need to sign this or not, so I guess I'm glad that it did. But I'm assuming, and I know the danger of assumption, that there may be some questions, concerns, or something that you guys have thought about since we last talked about this in the work session. And I know I can see what those might be if there are any, so that I can answer those questions or concerns. I've got Ms. Jean Moore, also from the steering committee here as well, so that she can hear and doesn't have to rely on my memory, so that I can give you guys any kind of info that you need to make a better informed decision.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Dunlap, you are correct. A resolution was prepared for council to vote on this issue. In conversation, council members felt that they did not have enough information still to make a legitimate vote on this issue. I know that there are members of the steering committee here tonight. My suggestion would be for the council to submit those questions or concerns to the steering committee. And for citizens that may not be familiar with that, the Boys and Girls Club of America has asked the city to lease the soon-to-be vacant fire station for the startup program of the Boys and Girls Club. There's been some discussion about the usage of that facility. It's not really clear, but again, I think that the council needs to give the steering committee those questions of concern, because I don't think the council was in a position tonight to really make a decision on the fire station. It has been suggested that the steering committee attend the building subcommittee meeting on the 19th to ask questions, concerns. The community relation committee is the 14th. I guess you can bypass that because you have attended that. You were at the work session. No one asked you questions at that time. And I know you were prepared to answer those questions. So with all of that being said, I guess my suggestion would be to attend the building committee meeting to ask those questions. And I'm gonna let Mr. Steinberg, if you want to at this point, to make some comments in that area. But I think it's a consensus of the council that they were not ready. So I did not move forward with that resolution at this point because, you know, the vote would not have been favorable. So I think we still have to continue to just move forward. So, Mr. Steinberg.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, I want to just mention to the council that this is not an agenda item, this is a public comment. We normally do not have a discussion. I do welcome, you know, y'all, the council is council, they talk anytime they want to. This is a public comment, and we are usually not in a position to have this dialogue. They can do whatever they want. I just wanted to remind you of the public's comment.
I appreciate you coming before us again this evening. I defer to Mr. Ellicott's mention here about what we can and can't do, but I would invite you to come to the building committee meeting next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, which I'm in charge of, and to also advise you that prior to your presentation last week, I had requests from the Public Works Department and from the Water Department internally who have some requirements who want to use that building as well. So I should be welcome meeting with you either outside of this or during the course of the meeting next week as well.
Okay. Next, there's a Milton Myers, I believe he's gone. Milton Myers. That's all I have. With that being said, we have a motion to go into executive session, and for what purposes the folks on today.
I think the appropriate motion is it's not on the agenda. I think it would be to amend the agenda to add an executive session. Okay, sorry.
Mr. Smile wanted to follow public comments and
Was he signed?
he wasn't able to.
We've already closed it now.
Okay. I'll see you up there.
All right. So back to executive session. We have a motion to convene the executive session for.
Mr. Mayor, for what purpose?
If you want to interrupt, Ms. Gilbert, I just say that, please. I'm going to tell you what there is. What we're going to convene for, Bill.
We'll convene it for discussing, deliberating upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action, etc., of a public officer or employee, and the potential acquisition or appraisals relating to real property.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to convene to executive session.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay, we'll be back.
they go to the executive section, talk about nothing. Yeah, that's it. Good. Very interesting. Very interesting.
No, you'll be here next time. Yes, thank you. Nice meeting you.
Next month. Next month. Same time, 7 o'clock. You're like 10. It may be 10 next month, but this time, usually
Started from the back row. Work my way up here. Fine, you doing great?
doing good, thank you. Finally, yeah.
Here I was thinking you and I were friends. You're going to that is not me.
We want to talk about
Take care. Hey, Alfonso, how are you today?
Stand by over here. Go and just stand by here in that front row. Okay,
programs, there's a reservation. Yeah. So they're going to hold
You can't go into like the settings from the customer side. So you're headed back now? You're back home? Yeah, that's what I was just looking at CRE. They're over at Planet. That was just weird. I don't know how do they want us to sit there, or are they going to call that kind of let us know if we need help? Yeah, I'm just wondering, have it on the calendar to do that. Bob was too licensed, so I didn't know whether
Yes.